The box arrived on a day Rahim almost gave up. Outside, the rain tapped endlessly against the tin roof of his small, rented room. Inside, unpaid bills lay on the table beside his laptop. Months of freelance work had slowed, motivation had faded, and his once energetic body now felt as heavy as his thoughts. He stared at the package label, FLYBIRD Adjustable Bench. He'd ordered it weeks ago during a brief spark of determination, one of those late-night promises to change everything. Now, it felt like a reminder of another promise he might fail to keep. Still, he opened it. The bench unfolded smoothly, its black frame locking into place with a reassuring. Rahim pressed down, padding. Firm, stable, reliable. 3 words he hadn't used to describe himself in a while. He picked up a pair of dusty dumbbells from under the bed. The first rep was clumsy, the second shaky. By the 10th, his arms trembled so hard he had to drop the weights onto the floor. He lay back on the bench, chest rising and falling fast, staring at the ceiling. For the first time in months, his mind went quiet. No bills, no deadlines, no fear. Just breath and effort. The next morning, he did 5 minutes. The day after, 10. A week later, he discovered incline presses, then decline sit-ups, then split squats beside the bench. The bench never judged him on weak days, never praised him on strong days. It simply waited, steady, unchanged, while he slowly rebuilt himself on top of it. Months passed. Rahim's shoulders broadened, his posture straightened. But more importantly, his routine returned. Wake, train, work, repeat. The discipline from those small daily workouts began spilling into everything else. He pitched more clients, finished projects faster, slept better. One evening, a video call popped up from an old friend. "Bro, you look different," the friend said. "What happened?" Rahim turned his laptop slightly. In the corner of the room stood the bench, folded neatly against the wall. He smiled. "Honestly," he said, "I started lifting again." But what he didn't say was this, that in his lowest season, when confidence felt heavier than any weight, a simple FLYBIRD adjustable bench had given him something solid to push against. And rep by rep, day by day, he had lifted far more than iron. He had lifted himself. The crate arrived at dawn, just as the city began to stir. Armin stood barefoot on the cool apartment floor, staring at the delivery label like it might change its mind and disappear. The words felt heavier than the package itself. Hydrow Wave Rowing Machine. He hadn't told anyone he bought it, not his sister, not his colleagues, not even himself, fully. It had been one of those late-night decisions made in the quiet hour when memories are loudest, when the past rose back without permission. Years ago, Armin had lived by water. University mornings began before sunrise, mist floating over the river like breath. He and his teammates carried their shell to the dock, shoulders burning, laughter low, the world silent except for oars touching water. Stroke, glide. Stroke, glide. Their boat moved as one body, one rhythm. Then life accelerated. Graduation, work abroad, deadlines replacing dawn, screens replacing horizons. And the river, once daily, became occasional, then rare, then gone. He told himself he'd return someday. He didn't. Until the night he saw a rowing video online. Camera skimming across open water, rowers moving in perfect cadence. Something inside him tightened, like a muscle long unused suddenly asked to work. An hour later, he clicked Buy now. Now the machine stood before him, still boxed, waiting. He opened it slowly. The components emerged sleek and matte, pirate black absorbing the morning light. It wasn't bulky like gym equipment, he remembered. It looked intentional, purposeful, as if designed not to intrude on a room, but to belong to it. He assembled it in silence. When he attached the 16-inch HD touchscreen and powered it on, the display woke like dawn over water. A lake appeared, silver surface, distant hills, early sky. A coach's voice flowed through the room. "Sit tall, we row together." Arman's chest tightened. He sat, feet into straps, hands on handle, knees bent. The posture returned before thought. His body remembered the sequence: legs, core, arms. Arms, core, legs. The sacred order of rowing. He pulled. The resistance met him smoothly, electromagnetic drag replicating water's give and grip. No jolt, no noise, just motion, continuous and alive. The machine slid beneath him with quiet precision, like a shell on glassy water. He pulled again and again. Within minutes the apartment dissolved. The walls faded. The years between then and now loosened. On the screen, water moved beneath him. Beside him, other rowers appeared. Remote athletes across the world, synchronized through signal and will. He wasn't alone. He was back in the boat. His breathing deepened. Sweat formed along his neck, muscles long. Dormant fired awake, legs driving, back swinging, arms finishing. The rhythm returned, not as memory, but as presence. Stroke, glide, stroke, glide. Tears surprised him. They fell quietly, unnoticed except by him and the machine that carried him forward, without judgment. When the session ended, Arman didn't stand. He remained seated, handle resting across his knees, chest rising and falling. The room came back slowly, the sofa, the window, the distant traffic. But something inside had shifted alignment. For the first time in years, he felt anchored. He rowed the next morning, and the next. Days turned into weeks. Work remained stressful, life remained complex, but there was now a fixed point in his day. Water without water, river without distance. Dawn sessions before emails, night rows after deadlines, lakes in Norway, rivers in Japan, coastal stretches at sunset. Worlds streamed through the screen while his body moved in ancient rhythm. Strength returned first, legs firm, back resilient, then posture, then sleep, then something deeper, identity. He was not just a worker behind a desk, he was a rower again. One evening his sister visited. She paused in the doorway, eyes landing on the machine positioned by the window, its screen glowing with open water. "You bought a rowing machine?" she asked. Arman nodded. She watched him for a moment, seeing the ease in his shoulders, the quiet steadiness in his presence. "You seem lighter," she said. He considered the word. Lighter wasn't right. Life hadn't lost weight, responsibilities hadn't vanished, but he had regained something that carried weight differently. He gestured toward the machine. "It brought me back," he said simply. Later that night, after she left, Arman sat once more on the Hydrow Wave Rowing Machine. The room was dark except for the screen's reflected water shimmering across the walls. He began another session. Slow, deliberate strokes under a twilight sky streamed from somewhere far away. Outside, the city moved in its restless rhythm. Inside, he moved in his own. Stroke, glide, stroke, glide. The Hydrow did more than simulate rowing. It restored continuity between past and present, effort and meaning, body and memory. In a world where rivers had receded into distance, it created a channel home. And in that quiet apartment, far from any shoreline, a man rowed across invisible water, strong again, steady again, carried forward by motion he had once lost and now reclaimed.